Fantastic pendejo. No fantastic shave. Apparently it's October, so I'm the spooky fantastic pendejo, like my son says it, with a spooky cigarette. So I already posted 2 more videos on this. If you guys seen them, my first video was the embarking of trying to wrap my fucking head around this. I'm so fucking irked. Needless to say, okay, so we were gonna do the oil pan gasket. So we did an oil pan because the previous master fucking mechanic decided to destroy said oil pan. Come here. Or some jagoff decided to destroy the oil pan, lift it straight up. And decided to do that to it. So, yeah, not only was the fucking gasket needed to be changed because it was destroyed, but the pan needed to be fucking taken out. Needless to say, you have to take pan out to get to the gasket. So, we watched other videos. Got my crew together. We were in there. Since you have to lift the engine, you might as well change the engine mount. The engine mount on this one was completely destroyed. So, I am cold-heartedly going to take my fucking time and explain this shit to you guys to give you guys the why and what's going on. Here we go. So, I'm not sure what platforms. I'm explaining it for the 03 Regal. I believe the Grand Prix is the identical platform. What do I mean? It is the identical setup. Yes, Park Avenues have 3.8s, but the engine mount is located up here, in between here. So this does not pertain to a Park Avenue. This pertains to these engines that have this in particular engine mount setup that has that fucking little engine mount cradle. This is the engine mount bracket that must absolutely come off because it will not give you clearance. Now, there are a total of 3 there, 2 on the other side, 2 there. These are all 15 millimeter. So, one of the videos said, hold it just like that, that this one could be reached with a ratchet. Yes, 3/8 15 millimeter. This one is a ratcheting wrench. This one, ratcheting wrench. Ratcheting wrench on both of those. Okay? Now, the shit that they don't fucking tell you, which just chapped my ass in the last video, was how the hell do I get that engine that far up? No one's saying anything. All they're telling you is grab an engine hoist, grab a jack stand, grab this, grab that, do this Chinese arithmetic shit, and magically the fucking engine comes up. Dead fucking wrong. Does not magically fucking come up. We were lifting this thing for hours on end, trying to figure out why it would not come up per the video. I have a bright LED light here. See that axle? See the position? If you do not loosen that up, just loosen it, or preferably remove the nut so the axle has the ability to move back and forth. When you raise that engine is going to pull on that axle, causing the engine to come up even further. When we went under there to clean the rest of the gasket and the gasket mating area, I ended up using a very fine honing stone. No, I did not fucking go ham on it. Okay, very gently, very lightly, a little bit of WD-40, cleaning up the mating area. What I ended up using for the pickup tube, because the gasket would not come off that motherfucker with a razor blade. Before I jack my money off, I invest in my garage and I invest in tools. I bought that. Yes, it's upside down. That little guy. Believe you me, that tool won, gasket loss. And again, very gently, knowing how to manage your tools, knowing how to hold the tool so that you're not pressing in there and gouging the mating area. That tool got out. You'll have gentlemen's, you'll have a lot of fucking guys out there, oh, just leave the pickup tube loose. No, you fucking pendejo. Tighten the fucking pickup tube with the new gasket. Tighten it up. Massage the gasket in there. Or you can, if you have enough clearance, like we did, made sure that the axle was loose so the engine, we had enough clearance to massage the pan in there. What you're going to find, reason why you need a lot of clearance is because of this. The bottom of that pan needs to clear that lip. Once you start massaging things back in its place, if this is not high enough, that engine is not high enough, it will not clear that. Once you get the pan in there, then you will go on ahead and you run your little bolts, take them, snug them up, do what you need to do, secure the pan. Put that little bracket that goes back in here, put it back up. We have not attempted to put the bracket back in, but I will tell you this, that fifth one that's all the way up and towards the back, yeah, fuck that bolt. That bolt ain't going back. That fifth one is not needed. If you're feeling froggy and want to attempt it, by all means, I support you on that decision. Go for it. If you've got ways to get it in there and can share the way to getting it back in there, I would prefer all 5 bolts to be back in. Unfortunately, these monster ass fucking hands says otherwise. So the 4 that I can get to are the ones that are going to go back in, and they will be torqued down. The other tidbit. Okay. Bolts. Sometimes they get a little grimy and shit. Gasoline. Right? Dirty. A little swishy swish goes a long way. They're not spotless, but it's a hell of a lot cleaner than what they were. It's a lot better than using brake clean. But again, take them, swish them around in gasoline a little bit, let them bitches dry. You want to let them completely air dry. Okay? You want to let them sit in there a little longer, make sure they're spotless, do just that. Take them, dump them fuckers back in there, let them soak. Just let them soak. That's what we ended up using, a little bit of gasoline in there and getting all that stuff cleaned up. It was really bad. That's your tidbit. That's the shit that they don't tell you. So my ass was really chapped. And again, 3/8, 15 millimeter ratchet and 15 millimeter socket. Okay. That's going to be for the one that the guy was saying, hey, yes, you can reach the top one with a ratchet. Yes, he was right. Other guys are sitting there, they're using these little fancy tools where it's got like a little step, it comes down. Okay. Yes, it works. However, you want to be careful. There's limited space. You want to be able to get that tool out. That's why I ended up using just a regular ratcheting open end. It's at a little bit of an angle, but if you good with your hands, you'll be able to massage it out. It does take time to get that bracket out. I'm gonna say because it was limited space, it did take us about a good hour, just per one of the videos said, yes, it takes an hour. But the shit that they're not telling you is loosening up that axle. That axle is key, because as you raise it, it's going to pull on that axle and it's going to stop it from coming up. Once we loosened up that axle, we had unlimited room towards where we needed to go. Again, we only loosened it. Could we have gone a little bit more? Yes. I would suggest try to get the nut out as far out as you can, or if not, just take the nut and remove it out completely. All you got to do is just take it, move the splines over, pop it right back in when you're done. Again, you just don't want to sit there, put everything back in, and attempt to go lower it if the splines aren't lined up. You want to have somebody lower the vehicle very slowly, get the splines lined up, and pop it back in. But you want that axle free, so it gives you the ability to really lift it. When you're embarking on doing the engine mount and the pan gasket, since you're in there, yes, do the engine mount. I would also just suggest to do the transmission mount, because it's such at a steep angle, you are going to hurt the transmission mount. All right? Holla at your boy.